Well, that's an accessory that goes along with it. There's a whole spool of string over here. Anyway, you wind the string around the top and pull it, and it spins, and it gets up on its axis and spins around. Oh, there you go. You found the string. Oh, okay. So I'll tell you how it began. Johnny, who's Francis's brother, visited during this blizzard of 1967, which is when I was born. And he asked if he can stay overnight because he couldn't get home in the blizzard. And his sister Frances, my grandfather's second wife, said, of course. And Johnny stayed there for my whole life until I met him. He still lived there when I got there. I got there in 2002, 30-something years old, and Johnny had lived there pretty much since I was born. And he bought a paper every day, a Tribune. And he put this Tribune in his bedroom, and he never threw them away. And he absolutely filled his entire bedroom, Gesundheit, with Tribunes to 6 feet tall. He made piles of them, and he moved out of the room because it was full of Tribunes. So he cluttered himself out of his own room, and it was all these old Tribunes from the 60s and 70s and early 80s. And after everybody moved out, it was my job to clean it, and I used a shovel because it was all this brittle old paper. It was about a 12 by 12 room, and it was full about 6 feet high with stacks of Tribune. And in the far back corner of this room, Johnny Aaron's room, there were two things. There was a gallon of kerosene in a glass jug. It was an old apple juice gallon filled with kerosene. And there was a copy of this book called Spirit Intercourse by J. Hewitt Mackenzie. And it is basically based on this initial discovering the metaphor and the imagery within the discovering of this book. That suggests to me that there is something important about this, that this is like an explosive book. It was right next to a gallon of kerosene under a huge pile of kindling. Quite curiously. And so that is what started me on the story about this book, which was I started doing these shows in 2015. But then in 2019, there was the 50-year anniversary of the moon landing. And in reading about that, I learned about the Van Allen belts, which I did not know about until 2019. Never heard of them. As far as I know, I even took College 101 Astronomy, University of Washington. Never talked about the Van Allen belts. But anyway, so I had already been talking about J. Hewitt Mackenzie for a couple of years. And in real time, I learned about the Van Allen belts, and I figured out, see, the police don't want you to know this. They're coming again. We got to get out of here. Quick.